All right, Ifeadi, you got a sack, man. Congrats.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
I mean, I know there's more that goes into the game than for defensive linemen than getting quarterback sacks, but that's the thing that shows up in the box score.
That's very true.
And you all celebrate them when you get them. So
Exactly.
I don't feel bad about bringing it up. You got your first one in the regular season. Congrats.
So
How'd it
awesome.
feel?
It felt great. So every play I go in, I'm expecting to get a sack, and this one finally panned out. Especially this is my first year on the active roster, so I was like, all right, baby, I did the hard part. I made the active roster.
Yeah.
Now let me get that sack. So I had a couple. I was pretty close in the Green Bay game. So what we did in that Giants game was we had a 5-man front, and usually when you have a 5-man front, the tackle, the center, the guard all have to count for one person because we had Anthony Barr on the edge. So centers rarely have one-on-one. They're usually helping people. So I liked my chances. So when the ball was snapped, I was like, all right, the center's usually going against bigger guys like Limbo or Shamar. I'm a quicker speed guy, so let me just use my speed, and it ended up working out well, and I ended up getting my first sack.
So, you're listed as a DN, and that's
Yeah.
your primary position, but the way you're explaining it, and as we saw, you got that sack lined up in the middle of the defensive line. So, and we've seen the team do that with other DNs. I mean, Weatherly will go inside, and I think there were times when they did that with D.
Yeah.
They slid him inside. How do you feel about being inside there? Do you like it occasionally? Do you like it all the time?
So what's kind of nice about playing inside is that nobody expects you to get a sack. So everyone's like, oh, the edge rusher. So it's like all the stress is on them.
Yeah.
But then when you're inside rushing, you sneak a snack. You're like, oh, yeah. That's why we put you there.
And there was one edge rusher on your own team who you're like, this is my sack, not yours.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah. So when I got that sack, I was like, oh, I got in. Then I saw Daniil for my peripheral. I was like, no, I can't split this sack, Daniil. So I remember trying to turn Daniel Jones to my side and make sure I celebrated immediately to let everyone know. So
Yeah, because you don't want your first career sack. You don't want it to be a half sack.
Yeah, man.
Because then it's like I don't have a sack. I have a half of one.
They're like, hey, congrats, Ifeadi, on that half. You sacked half the man.
Yeah, and then then we're in the friends and family area after the game, and you got to explain to your friends and family.
Congrats on your sack. It was actually a half sack.
Yeah. So we're glad that it turned out that way.
Exactly.
Now for the games. I'm in the radio booth, so I'm trying to figure out how many yard loss was that sack. So I'm looking at the replay. Did you celebrate? I didn't see if you celebrated.
Oh yeah, I have a celebration. So
okay.
All right. So let me tell you the
Take us
origin.
through that. Take us through.
So my celebration is I'm unsheath the sword. So usually when I get a sack, I make sure I pretend there's a sword. I'm holding a sword in my holster, right?
We'll go with holster.
Yeah. So
well, isn't it a sheath?
Sheath, yeah.
There you go.
Right.
So I'm doing that, pull the sword out, then I put it into the ground. kind of Excalibur.
Okay.
Hell
all right.
yeah.
So sort of like Baker Mayfield at Ohio State, with the flag into the.
But I did it before. I did it way before.
Okay, you did
It's
it
his,
before
it's not
Baker.
Baker.
Yeah. Because
he might have trademarked for me.
the Oklahoma quarterback going to midfield at Ohio State and putting the flag in the ground.
Yeah.
That's a big deal now.
Yep.
But you're saying you did that before he did.
So I've been pulling this sword out since 2014.
So you were doing it just outside of Chicago at Northwestern.
Yeah, exactly. So I was doing it. But the difference is in college, you can't really excessive celebrate like that because they'll flag you.
Oh yeah, they will.
Yeah,
and Coach Fitzgerald won't like that, right?
He don't allow that. So so the variation I had at Northwestern, I'd pull the sword out, stick it up in the air, and that's all. So you know what I mean. So people got it.
Okay.
But then I told myself, my friends like, hey man, what are you gonna do when you get to the NFL? I'm putting that baby into the ground, and I'm gonna let everyone know what's up.
That's awesome.
So that whole time I was like, all right. After college, I was like, I need to get to the NFL, and I need to pull this sword out and put it into the ground.
So I can put this sword in the ground.
You're taking that extra step with the sword.
And if you look closely enough, that sword's still in MetLife.
Oh, is it really? Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's artificial surface there, so you got to really jam it in.
So somebody's got to pull it out. So.
Right. All right. All right.
Next time I'm there, I might come find the area and pull the sword out.
Go find your sword. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Cool.
That's so awesome.
Okay, so when you're in the meeting room after this game, well, first of all, you guys played great, so I'm sure Andre Patterson and Robert Rodriguez were probably in a good mood. But a sack is just one play.
Yep.
So now, when you guys get to the play where you got the sack, what happens? Like, are they giving you credit? Is it, hey, way to go, man, slap on the back, or what is it?
So we didn't meet this week because of just Victory Monday.
Oh yeah, Zim gave you the day off.
Yeah, he gave us the day off. So, but usually in that situation, everyone would dab you up. Like after the game, everyone's like, "Hey man, Ifeadi, congrats on that first sack."
Yeah.
I remember my first.
Yeah.
Everyone's reminiscent. I remember my
Everyone
first.
remembers their first.
I remember my first. Like, hey guys, I can now see I remember my first.
But I know what Dre also will do. I bet what Dre will do from time to time, and maybe you've seen it with other guys, is like it's the slap on the back by other people to the guy who got the sack. But Dre's pointing out, hey, the reason that happened is because Linval did that.
Exactly, and like going back with it. So start off with what Coach Zim, the play Coach Zim called.
Well, hold on, don't get us in trouble now with Zim. We don't want to give plays away.
Okay, so so at the end of the day, like he saw that all right, a 5-man front, which we've been doing a lot of times. Let's create a mismatch where each offense lineman has to block a guy one-on-one, and then let's put me at nose, and I can use my speed.
Yep.
So and ended up just working out pretty well.
Yeah.
So.
And so now that's something that's on tape.
Yeah.
So now what you can do is come up with something off of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. So just for a center, the center's always at a disadvantage by snapping the ball. So teams can try whatever they want. The only thing they could do really is have the center try to help him when I come off the ball. Have the running back come. And try to chip me. And if the running back's doing that, then that leaves a linebacker free.
You know, I've seen offenses do that when teams put a defender or two in the A gap, like Barr and Kendricks mugging the A gap,
exactly.
I'll see them put a running back like right behind the guard.
And
smart.
Yep, exactly. So, because the blitzes, from an offensive standpoint, there's a lot coming at you. So, and they know that we like getting pressure in the middle. So, teams like to do that.
How has our run defense been this year?
Running defense has been great, and I think one of the best additions for that is having guys like Shamar.
Yeah.
So Coach Dre really harped on this year's like having guys like Shamar is great.
Stuffs to run.
He stuffs to run, man.
Yeah.
Like Coach Dre always hits around. You don't always see his stats, but man, that dude's a technician, and if you really talk to him, you can really analyze his brain. There's a reason why. It's not a coincidence. So having guys like Shamar, and then also just I think. What Zim's done to the defense this year, he's added some new things.
Zim's always adding new stuff,
exactly.
always new wrinkles.
And it started from OTA, so it's really cool seeing that being applied this year.
Let's get into your story a little bit. So you did not start playing football until you were in like high school, right?
Yeah.
In Ohio.
Yeah. So it's a pretty classic like Nigerian story. Every Nigerian I meet is like, yeah, man, same here, man. My parents didn't understand football.
Olabisi Johnson had a pretty similar story when he was in here.
Yeah. And Olisa.
Yeah.
Oli, I actually grew up with him.
Oli Udo?
Yeah, Oli Udo.
You did?
Actually, yeah. We grew up together.
Wow.
People don't know about that actually.
No, they don't. Yeah. But they do now.
Yeah.
They do now.
So Oli and I have known each other since grade school, like elementary school.
That's awesome.
So because one thing about like when you're growing up and like when you're like the Nigerian culture, Nigerian community, parents like to go out and meet other Nigerians. So there's a bunch of Nigerian events that happen in my area.
Yeah.
So we end up meeting Olisa and his family. He has an older brother, younger sister, know the whole family. And so we grew up together. That's just before we even knew what football was. We were just kids. Then Oli ended up going to Nigeria, then moved to North Carolina. Then I started playing football. Then I get drafted here, and I see I see Oli playing like getting invited to the combine. I'm like, hey man, good job. We're friends on Facebook, so I even like respond to him, hey man, I'll see you in the NFL soon.
Yeah. And then he shows up here.
Vikings drafted him 6th round. I'm like, oh my, Oli, it's been a decade, man. You're a little bigger. Hey, Fly, you're a lot bigger actually. So.
And now he's a tackle for the Vikings. So we drafted him late in the draft.
So it's definitely great. So guys like with a lot of Nigerians. Parents don't really understand football. Classic story. My mom's a doctor, dad's an engineer. And they're like, hey, we came to this country for education, for you to work hard, not for you to play sports. I don't understand the sports.
Oh, my gosh.
So you should be a doctor like your mom, and everything will be great.
Yeah.
I got older, got bigger. All my peers were like, hey, Ifeadi, you're big, black Nigerian. Like, come on, man. Hey, we want you to play football. I had to beg my mom, dad, so I had to get a 3.5 GPA my freshman year to play football, and
that's awesome.
The rest was history. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
And you did it at Northwestern, which is a pretty good school.
Yeah,
as well.
So So when I got that Northwestern offer, and my parents were pretty much saying, "Hey, you should go here." I had Ohio State and Notre Dame and all that, but Northwestern made the most sense. So my parents were pretty happy. Like, oh, my son, he's playing football and going to a prestigious school. Oh, this was all the plan. Oh. So they're pretty happy right now.
That's awesome, man. And now you can say you got your first sack.
I got my
in the
first
NFL
sack, and many more to come. So.
Well, can you get your folks to games ever? Do you ever convince them to come watch?
Oh yeah. So
okay, good.
Yeah. So my dad, he works in Philly, so he was able to come to see my first sack actually with my godfather. And my godfather, that was his first NFL game and his first time watching me play. So
awesome.
After he was like, "Oh, Ifeadi, I had a great time. Our seats were great. Thank you. I got to come to every game now." I'm like, "All right, Uncle, I got you."
Yeah, see you back in Minnesota.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's so awesome that you got to do it in front of your family.
Yes.
Did that have an impact on the way you played? Were you more excited?
Nah, just playing an NFL game, you have like a lot riding on it, and especially with me since like this is my first year on the active roster, so everyone's like trying to make sure, "Hey, Ifeadi, make sure you know what you're doing." I was like, "Coach, I got this. Come on now." So,
all right.
So it's all about having the trust now.
Let's talk about that. I mean, you were cut by the Vikings, and then you make the practice squad. Then you go to the Cleveland Browns last year, and then you find your way back here, and then you make the active roster in training camp this year.
Yeah, so it was a cool story, and I think like everyone. So one thing about the NFL, everyone has their own like tribulations. Like, everyone has their own path of making to the roster if you're drafted, high round, undrafted. So I think when I went to Arizona and I went to Cleveland, I had like, you know how they always tell you like this grass is always
greener
on the other side? That's not always the case.
Yeah.
That's not always the case.
Right here, right?
Yeah, so, and I didn't realize like how nice I had it here, just from top to bottom, from how the front office runs it, how the coaches run it, and how like someone like Coach Patterson talks to each player like the same. You know what I mean? Obviously, you have Pro Bowl caliber players in that on that D line. But also, you have young guys, and he talks to everyone the same. There's no favorites. So that's one thing. Like those are things that you don't know, like that you take
went to
for
Arizona
granted.
too. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Cleveland and Arizona were the two teams.
So I really got to see two other organizations. And unfortunately, I ended up getting cut from both those teams. But last year, when I had the chance to be on practice squad, I had other offers, and I'm like, I gotta make this roster, man. Like that's gonna be. I knew it with my football career. I was like, that's gonna be one of my biggest regrets, like not suiting up, being on the Vikings, wearing a Vikings uniform. So I'm really happy that actually happened.
Did you have you dove into the Eagles at all yet?
Have not. So what I'll probably do today. So just been just getting done with the Giants game. So probably around my routine's usually around 4 or 5. I'll start watching film and start seeing their tendencies, because now that I'm rushing inside, I have to know what the guard is doing, what the center's doing, what the tackle's doing. So I'm kind of right now, they're kind of putting me at that utility spot. So
cool.
So
I think our building's going to be jacked up on Sunday.
Do you have a little revenge factor from 2017?
Yeah, man.
You were around here.
Yeah, dude. It's just because after the Minneapolis Miracle, we were all expecting we were the chosen team, but we ended up losing a hard-fought game with the Eagles. So everyone kind of has that nasty taste in the mouth, but most importantly, we try to do it one day at a time. So most importantly, we got this big win against the Giants. So now just take care of the Eagles and just just focus on the one game at a time.
Yeah. Get that second sack.
Hey, yeah, exactly. hey, and once you get one, like
start racking them up.
Start racking up, baby.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah, exactly. That's the plan.
All right, man. Well, go get some breakfast.
Yep.
Get ready for the Eagles, and we appreciate your time.
Awesome, baby.
All right.